something for you right here, Graham.
Ooh, hope it's not another ex.
Hey, Jonah, my name is Nigeria Chambers. I'm from Big Go Belt Media. It's a pleasure to talk to you about your new film, EXmas, coming to Amazon Freevee in November 17th. How are you doing today?
Good, great to meet you. And look at your HD video quality. You're one up in me here. I had the mic, which I know you got somewhere back there as well. But
yeah, right.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, I could tell from the quality. But you have also, I don't know, are you using camo or are you just using your iPhone?
Oh, it's real. I'm using a full fledged mirrorless camera.
Okay, gotcha. Okay,
Yeah,
I can't beat that. No, I can't.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yep, my Nikon Z5 is doing the job.
I fucking love a Z5. That's great. Yeah.
Well, listen, if there's one thing I learned about you this year, you're gonna tell a rom-com. I checked out your film earlier this year at midnight. And to find out that you did this film, I was like, oh, that makes sense totally. So considering that this was the genre that you wanted to choose for the year, bringing laughs, bringing joy, that feel-good moment, was that initially just the plan, or is that just kind of how the cards laid out?
A combination of the two, I would say. And I appreciate you checking out at midnight. I think it's I grew up child of the 90s, product of Disney movies. I believe in happily ever after. I believe in things can end well. And I think the rom-com is a genre. People say, why rom-com? And I'm like, well, I like things that are funny and I like things that are romantic. Doesn't mean they don't, it has to be like The Notebook. It doesn't have to be like intense romance. I just like romantic shit. You're on a date, you twirl your date in the middle of the street in New York City at midnight. I'm like, that's me, so sometimes you become a rom-com person as a result of that.
I fully agree. We need to normalize a lot of that in society. We just need to see these random, like, I know what you're doing there, buddy.
Exactly. Yeah.
Looking at the cast here, before we go down the list, I'm curious, when you land your leads, how do you sort of, because I know there's no need of testing them, but how do you kind of put together the two different folks and have not been wrong with these choices thus far? How do you kind of like vet this process here?
So the chemistry is the most important thing. On my first movie, Dating in New York, I didn't chem read Jabuki or Francesca. I had just taken their images and some of their scenes and cut them together in Adobe Premiere. And then I had learned through that process how important chem reads were and how I wanted to really value that moving forward. That's the naive director in me, because on At Midnight, I got to do that. I got to put Diego Boneta against 5 other wonderful actresses, and Monica and him had this electric, it was over Zoom, but I cut them together with music and I was like, holy shit. Nice. That's amazing. And with EXmas, I learned, you know what, Jonah, you're not always going to have the luxury of bringing 2 actors in a room and doing this chem read process. And that makes complete sense, by the way. I mean, back in the 1950s, when the rom-com was going through its big thing, they never did. They were just movie stars. And that was the joy of seeing a rom-com, was because you could see, a Cary Grant or a Katharine Hepburn or a George Clooney and Julia Roberts. You could just see stars engaged. For EXmas, I did not get to chem read the 2 of them, but I was able to put their images together. I was cutting their scenes together. And I was just like, this actually might just work out perfectly well. And had we been seriously concerned, we would have done something about that. But they have this great chemistry. You believe that they're together. You'll also believe that they broke up. So that's, which is like a fun nuance to them. But as you said, chem reads are so important. And if you can't literally get your actors in the same room, you can go find clips from the internet and cut them together and do it that way.
All right, so you're saying that there's still a slight chance I may be able to cut myself in a video with Zoe Kravitz. Gotcha.
Absolutely. Hey, you can all dream.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
In all things Prime Video, I gotta say, huge fan of Robbie. And I sat here and I thought, like, of course, he's the perfect casting for Graham here, but Robbie's so good. I said, oh, Nathan's out here cheating out here. He has somebody already. I'm curious if you've seen his work in Upload, and was that a part of casting him here? Obviously, Upload season 3 is available now. But his work as Nathan there, I instantly instantly saw Nathan in the beginning of this film, but then he kind of washed it away because he's such a charming guy. And when it comes down to just the morals and of these characters that he embraced, I disconnected the whole thing. I was like, oh, Nathan's cheating, changed his name out here to Graham, and now he has a new chick. And oh, good for him. It didn't work out. So it's kind of how I went into the film the first 5 minutes.
That is hilarious. Well, and it's funny, the earlier parts of the movie were earlier in production. And when I FaceTime with Robbie, I was like, hey, I've seen Upload. I'm excited to learn more about your work. And what's your process? And he said to me he wanted to be a hockey player at first, and then he got into acting, and he sees acting and much like a sport. And he's and I think that's an amazing way to see it. And I watched him on Upload to sort of get a sense of what he was doing already and what his comedic timing was, which I think which is incredible. He's got such a nuanced performance. In fact, Robbie, who I thought, day one, I was like, wow, he's really funny. And this is great. And then I went and watched the dailies and I was like, oh my God, he's fucking hilarious because he's so nuanced. It's so right here. And you don't know until you're in the close-up. You really don't. You don't on the set, you don't know how funny he's being. And that was really, really cool to see. I'd never worked with an actor like that before. And then I think as Robbie began to trust me more, and as I got to know him more, some of the emotional stuff that you see later in the movie was a new thing for him. And it was like, I kind of said to him, I'm like, look, this is where I'm coming from as a director and where I think we can try to push this Graham character to sort of see a more emotional side. And let's have fun with this and try to keep things grounded, which he always wanted to do and was always really good at keeping things grounded, despite how ridiculous they might get.
Yeah. And again, I want to obviously give a shout out to his dance partner and Leighton Meester, who the two of them just really make the film work. And I would have just been good with them too, but then you just decide to just a vast amount of talent into this mixing pool of folks here. Michael Hitchcock and Catherine Greenwood. And thus, I do have a pitch by the end of this interview. But when you did realize that you had all of this talent here, how did you sort of navigate ensuring that everybody had their moments and their opportunities to really show what they can do, which in fact did a fantastic job distributing that across the board?
I would spend time with each one of them and watch their work and watch how they process and say, my job as a director is someone once told me, director's job is just to create an environment where an actor can do their best work. And so creating an environment where Catherine Greenwood and Michael and Veronica and Steven and Thomas and Donna and everyone could just do their thing and feel safe to do that thing. And when you create an environment on set, a family environment, a close-knit environment with the cast and the crew, that actor feels comfortable diving deeper into what they're capable of. And so Michael Hitchcock, for example, would typically, we do 1 to 2 takes to script. He usually gets it perfectly. And then he would just make it hilarious. He would just go off and just do his thing. Of course, we want to stick it to the story and everything like that. But he was incredible at making things grounded and hilarious. And then Catherine, of course, came from Second City as well and would do something similar. So it was easy once they felt like they were in an environment to do their best work. Yeah.
Oh, that's facts there. You did just mention something about Robbie, about hockey. There was and I wish I had wrote this quote down, but there was a really good sort of motivational message about sports about the third act of the film. I wish I could remember what it was. Does that ring a bell at all?
Like a speech from him, or you mean the hockey scene, or what?
Yeah, and there was a speech. I'm just wondering, like, by sort of just his approach to things, did that somehow land into the film? I just quickly connected that. There was something that was said in that third act that I was like, that's really good. I need to remember that. And of course I didn't, right?
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm not remembering exactly, but it's probably in the win back speech he makes, but it's also in the, it's probably where he's like, I will fight, I will do anything in my power to make you feel loved. And in that sort of monologue he gives, which, it was it was in the script, but I think having him done, having just seen the hockey scene, which by the way, he's incredible at hockey. So all those hockey scenes are actually him playing.
Okay.
Maybe it was a combination of all those things that kind of made it connect more, but yeah, he wanted to win back her heart. He wanted to, win the girl.
Yeah. I'm still going to tell Nora played by the wonderful Andy Arlo. What Mr. Nathan is doing in his real life.
Oh my
Now he's not
God.
in Lakeview.
Oh my God, that's so funny. Yeah, I need to watch the new season.
It's really good. There's two Nathans. You can't miss that. That's
That's
double the
amazing.
Robbie fun.
Yeah.
I got a pitch here as we get close on the time.
Yeah.
And folks, please go check out this film November 17th. I am going to caution just a mild spoiler warning here. I would be remiss if I didn't take this opportunity to say, well, it looks like Graham possibly wants to get back at Mindy here. Have you thought about a potential sequel here to kind of see Veronica just fantastic in this too, but her sort of wear the predicament of the battle of the exes here?
I would love to. I mean, Veronica, her and I met on TikTok, by the way, and we became friends. And I thought she was so hilarious and talented. And I was just like, hey, can I cast you in this movie? And she said yes. And so I would love to utilize more of her. She's so talented, a wonderful singer as well. Yeah. So yeah, I think I would definitely like to manifest EXmas 2, and it's inviting Veronica's Heather to the holidays and see what happens.
Cool. Now that you mentioned Heather, I'm just saying, any ideas here for the casting?
Oh my God. Who do we want to manifest as Heather? I don't know. Who do you think is Heather?
That's interesting. Ooh, I want somebody that's like really good at like improv, just somebody who just the chops will just keep flowing. I mean, they're gonna have to keep up Veronica too. So yeah, I gotta think about that. I didn't think you were gonna turn that back around on me here.
Well, so you get it from me on the spot. Yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, someone who's good at improv who they can battle and stuff like that would be great.
Yeah. Well, either way, I mean, we'll catch up next year around November.
Exactly.
Why don't you get to work right now? We can have the sequel to it. And if you had a sequel, what would you call it? Xmas 2?
More
Xmases?
2 Xmas. Yeah, 2X. Yeah, more Xmas.
More Xmas.
Yeah, 2X, 2 Mas. Yeah.
2 Mas. That is amazing.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, listen, Jonah, it's a pleasure to talk to you again today about your
Likewise.
film, EXmas, again on Freevee November 17th. I'll see you back next year, man.
Thank you so much. Thank you for making the time. Great to meet you, and see you soon.
Absolutely. Take care. Bye.